Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel, Wrestling with Books. My name is Nina and probably like you, I am a book fan. I love reading about books, watching other people talk about books, picking out what book I'm gonna read next, and even sometimes I fit in the time for the actual reading. Here on this channel, I decided that I was gonna finally join and start talking about books too. And that is what brings us here today, where I am doing the Finally Fall book tag. This tag was created by a channel I follow called Bookables. You may follow her as well. And she is just the spot for seasonal reads and for seasonal tags. I have looked through the prompts, picked out some where I could, and let me show you what I've come up with. I've printed out the prompts, and the first question is, in the fall, the air is crisp and clear. Yes, it is. That's one of the things I love about fall. Name a book with a vivid setting. And so the book I chose is Murder on the Lusitania by Edward Marston. So this is a book that was written a while ago, but was re-released under a new author name, and I guess they're trying to bring it back. So this is at the turn of the century, in the early 1900s. George Dillman, he is hired to go on the Lusitania's maiden voyage to pretend to be a passenger, but he's really a detective. So this way, if little things come up, he's there to take care of things. But as this voyage goes on, it's more than just the little things that come up that he is solving and piecing together on this vessel. So I love that you get the aesthetic of being on this huge ocean liner and this huge ship, and the descriptions of the ship, the different cabins, the different decks, where people are, etc. I was like, wow, I love, I guess, ocean liner mysteries. Like, I don't know what to call it, but I adored it. So when it comes to settings, this was definitely a book that was on my mind. That was great for setting. What more can I say? It's set. It's set. Okay. Nature is beautiful, but also dying. I guess that's kind of what we see in fall, right? Name a book that is beautifully written, but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. So for that, I thought I would pick Cemetery Boys by Aidan Thomas. This is a young adult book, and it follows a boy who is transgender, and his family is not as accepting as that as he really needs. And he ends up getting having a ghost follow him, and the ghost is about his age, and they kind of just go through this journey together. And what makes me think of this book for this prompt is the whole idea of that it's a beautiful book, but it deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief, because you begin to know this boy for who he is and as a character, but he is a ghost. He has died, so that is kind of like the sad part of that. But this is a really nice, beautifully written book about a transgender boy in a Latinx family, so there's a lot that you can learn if you're not, it was the first book that I read that was from a transgender POV, and it helped me respect things that I just didn't know about, like the importance of not speaking somebody's dead name and things like that. So that's why a book like this is really important to read, and I think you should put on your list because it's also a good book. This prompt is fall is also back to school season, so share a book that taught you something new. And I picked George Lucas' A Life. This book is by Brian J. Jones. He also wrote Jim Henson A Life. Oh, this book, I could just, I probably will read it again, because like, I think, I love reading books about people who have achieved success. Like, it's just that simple, because, I want to replicate it. I want to reverse engineer it, and I want to do it, right? So this takes you through very deeply through George Lucas's life of, when he's studying as a student, when he's starting to do American Graffiti, when he does Star Wars, the importance his wife had with editing, the other projects he did. And you learn his level of investment and really begin to learn to appreciate the idea that he kind of used his movies to fund making his own movies without having to do it with a studio. And sometimes, you know, we're hard on the decisions he's made because Star Wars is so precious to us. But you really have to admire somebody not going through a studio and being like, I'm gonna do this my way. So it's like, well, who am I then to judge the results? So it really left me with just such a profound respect for George Lucas, and I was just, taught me a lot. Next prompt. In order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with the people we love. Name a fictional family, household, or friend group that you'd like to be a part of. And guys, I'm just gonna say it. I'm gonna reveal it. Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Those were books that I read a lot growing up, and the movie was so good and the casting was so right. And even Sisterhood Everlasting I read and loved, which is them as adults. And it's fantastic. And I can't imagine, I have close friends, you know, I do, but the level of friendship these girls have, and that's for them, like, I can't imagine that. I mean, I guess, I'm one of 4 sisters, so maybe I can imagine it, but maybe I can't imagine that it's all, like, willing, right? Like, this is voluntary, I don't know, but I guess they are more like sisters than friends, and they all really have very individual personalities. And if you haven't read this book, it's so fantastic, and what I love about it is that no matter where you are, or maybe if you're suggesting a young adult read it, or even younger, no matter where they are, somebody in that book they're going to be able to relate to. So it's not just about someone finding a relationship, right? We have those things that happen in the book, but it's not what everything about. Someone's dealing with a broken family, someone's dealing with the loss of a potential friend, somebody's dealing with love that maybe isn't returned. So there's all these different things you're going through in this book, and that's what I like about it. It's why I like shows, even like the Golden Girls, Sex and the City. There's always somebody in it that you can relate to, and who you can who is feeling what you're feeling. Those just hit the spot for me. Next up. The colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall-colored spines. So I do have to skip this one because I have books all around the apartment. I'm in an apartment and I don't have, you know, a library or one grand bookshelf. So for me to take the books would be hard. I mean, it's hard enough for me to find this, like, simple spot here to sit in, so this is all we're gonna get. Fall is the perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. This is what's happening right now. Cool, right? Share a book written wherein somebody is telling a story. And I want to share, okay, I know on BookTube, James Patterson is more so known as the guy who writes 30 bestsellers a year without writing anything, but there are books that led to how he got there, okay? And Suzannes Diary for Nicholas is one of them. And it tells the story of a woman who meets a man. She meets the perfect man. Her name is Katie. And one day he just disappears. And all he leaves for her is this diary. Suzannes Diary for Nicholas. And it becomes clear that Nicholas is his child, and as she reads this diary, she finds out what happens to Suzanne, Nicholas, and what happened that may have caused him to leave. And oh my god, James Patterson's romances are so good. Just read it. It's fantastic. And the way you get the current day with the letters and the diary, you know, it gives me, a lot of people maybe don't appreciate where he is now, but if you go back and read some of these books, it's just, he is so good, and I think that's important to at least remember how good he is. Next up, the nights are getting darker. Share a dark, creepy read. And for that, I want to talk about The Corpse Queen by Heather Herman. I read this year, and because it has Frankenstein-ish vibes. And it tells the story of a girl who is in an orphanage and her aunt ends up coming for her. And she is brought into a world where dead bodies have value. So there are people who kind of, I guess it's almost like grave robbers, but they're actually taking the bodies, not the belongings of the bodies. And what happens is people study them, and maybe like in Frankenstein, people want to either bring them back to life or study the bodies, study the deformalities, study the illnesses and things like that. So she gets brought into this world, but there's just the setting. It kind of feels very Victorian. There's some romance in there. It's so good. My description is not doing it justice. I mean, should I read the blurb? The blurb is wrong. It's her Aunt Ava. The blurb is long. So just trust me. If you like spooky reads, add this one to your list, because I can't believe it didn't like take over, you know, the book world, let's say, when it came out, because I think it's fantastic. The days are also getting shorter. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm somebody on a cold, rainy day. And I have to tell you, I got this book from NetGalley, and it is called She and Her Cat by Makoto Shinkai and Naruki Nakakawa. Oh my God. It is. At first, I like couldn't enjoy it because I was so afraid that like the cats are gonna be sad. So it tells a story, parallel stories, like they do end up kind of being interwoven, but you don't know how in the beginning. And it tells about these different people. There are turning points in their lives and how these cats find them and help to change their lives, but you get the point of view of the cats too. And so that's why I was so worried. I was like, if something happens to any of these cats, I'm gonna be but it's all happy cats, happy homes, happy owners, and it's adorable. And it's the point of view of the cat is like how you really would think that my cat right here, Buster, would think of me, like, oh, you know, why is she sad? You know, I wish I could. Oh, it's so cute. And a lot of the characters do start off sad, but they end happy. It's a fantastic read. A must for cat lovers, a must. Next, we've got fall. Returns every year, so I hope you like it. Name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. So I haven't read Frankenstein in a while, but I've been reading a lot of retelling, so I think I may want to read that again this year. And if not that, oh, did we lose Mulder again? No, this time it's Scully. You know, I'm always rereading. I do like to reread Harry Potter. That's one of my favorites to reread. So I'd say between Frankenstein and Harry Potter, those are the two that I probably would revisit again. And share your favorite cozy reading accessories. I got one of those book pillows from Bookbo, and it is fantastic. It's like, I'll have to get up. I'll just have to get up. So this is the pillow. So let's say if I was sitting on the couch, you know, you have it like this and rest the book on, but now I like it for sleeping because it curves. It's like a jelly bean kind of shape. But let me tell you, I got this design because it was the only one left on a clearance they were doing, and I've been wanting these for a long time. And my husband, he was like, one night finally, he's like, you know what that means? And I was like, I don't know, I assume it's a BTS song. And he's like, they say purple means, and I forget what they say it means. And he's like, they made up a meaning for purple. And he was like furious. And I was like, Tommy, it's okay. And he's like, purple doesn't mean that. And I was like, well, it's the same as like blue. You know, like blue. Am I sad right now because I'm wearing blue? I'm like, it's not that big a deal. It's like green with envy. It doesn't have to mean that. And he's like, you can't just make up a meaning for purple. I was like, well, they did. So that was a big to-do in our house, the meaning for purple. So the color purple rain, and I purple you, but I do love this pillow, so it all works out. And that was the finally fall book tag. I thought this was a lot of fun. So she said to spread the autumn appreciation and tag some people. I did not pre-think this, as usual. So I will see if anybody here wants to do it, and I will suggest that Percy Does Everything and Heather at the Disney Housewife give this tag a shot if they feel so inclined. They're the ones I always mention when I forget to tag anybody. But thank you for tagging along and watching this as we sit by the fire. If you made it this far, can you give a fire emoji in the comments or something just to let me know that you are the VIP, so I can thank you for watching through. This was a lot of fun, and I will be back again here on Wrestling with Books, or you can check out my other channel, Wrestling with Disney, if you just can't wait until I'm back again. Till then, guys, see you soon.